What is up, everybody? Today is Wednesday, August 13th. I took two trades today. I ended up just a little bit above break even. So let's go through the trades that I took, right? So starting off on the 4-hour chart, we are all the way over here in all-time high territory. As you know, the way I look at it, with bullish structure, we have bullish order flow. We held this 4-hour fair value gap overnight. As you can see, we didn't even tap into it. I just started to push on higher, up into this all-time high, right? And so that makes it a little bit more difficult to trade. So the biggest thing that I was watching was this bullish 4-hour fair value gap. If this candle here, right, the 6 to 10 a.m. candle, if that was going to close, or actually I wouldn't even created it. I wanted to see if we were going to end up closing below, if there was any kind of lower time frame imbalance, like a 1 hour or something like that. And if that would hold, then I would look to go short, targeting the start of this 4-hour FEG. I had another 1-hour FEG that was in here, although we never got that. And then, there were some further downside targets. But on the 1-hour time frame, like I said, I was looking for I don't know why I have that marked out, honestly, because that is not an FEG. I was looking for this 1-hour FEG right here, if that was going to end up holding or not. And if that did fail, right, if we ended up getting a 1-hour closure below, which we did at 11, then I would look for shorts to then target down into this area. And like I said, here are the other targets that I had: the beginning of this imbalance, the beginning of that imbalance, and then of course the bottom of the 4-hour imbalance that we had. So that was that on the hourly, okay? And then of course on the 15-minute chart, very simple. Here we had a 15-minute imbalance. If we were going to continue moving higher, I would not have expected that to hold, or I would have expected that to hold and then continue to push higher into all-time highs. So because of the fact that we disrespected this, the 1-hour imbalance as well made me bearish, okay? And then of course we disrespected the 4-hour as well, which made me bearish in the PM session for the last hour macro. Now, I actually made a mistake today. I took a trade that I should not have taken. And the trade that I took was this short right here. And the reason why I shouldn't have taken this trade, if you notice, this trade was before 11 o'clock. And at 11 o'clock, we finally invalidated that 1-hour bearish or bullish fair value gap. So I actually ended up taking this trade right here, trying to target down into this area. And as you can see, I get stopped out on that trade. This was not a trade I should have taken for two reasons, right? Number one, that 1-hour FEG had not been invalidated yet. I needed to wait for that confirmation. Because I didn't, I was trading against the order flow that was currently on the hourly chart. The second thing, the way I like to enter my trades is if there is a imbalance that gets created inside of the macro, I want to see it also get invalidated inside of the macro in the direction that I want to look for. Because I was leaning towards bearishness, I wanted a bullish fair value gap to get created inside here and then invalidated. I took the fair value gap that was outside of the macro, and then that got invalidated inside the macro. That goes against my entry model. I jumped the gun on this trade. I was a little too eager for it. And unfortunately, I got, demolished on that one. Here on this right here, I was bullish for this. I forgot to mention this one. So what would I want? A bearish fair value gap to get invalidated, which unfortunately we didn't get an entry, right? Because price did not want to move higher. So nothing, right? I'll mark out the two bearish fair value gaps that get created inside of it. There is one. Here is the other. And both of those held, okay? We did not get a imbalance or an inversion fair value gap. So there was no entry for me there. And then here, had I stuck to my rules, there was no appropriate entry for me. Now, coming into the New York lunch session, was there an entry here for me? No, at this point, I'm still bearish, okay? Even though we're tapping into that 4-hour, the 1-hour and the 15-minute are both bearish, okay? The 4-hour could use a retracement. So at this point, I didn't take this trade. We had this 1 minute created outside of it. I marked it just to see what it would do, and it did hold price down, right? We tapped it once, twice, and then rejected off of it. But there was nothing created inside of the macro. So for the entire morning session, there was no entry for me. Now, most traders will get, exasperated at that point and be like, all right, I need to take a trade. I need to have something. but you got to stay patient. You got to stay patient. So now coming into the New York PM session, We have the macro at 110, another bearish bias macro. And what do we end up getting? We get a lot of bullish fair value gaps that are created inside of here. And then this one right here gets invalidated. Right there. This was my entry. And I actually took it for a 1-to-1 basically. So like right here was where I sold. Now the reason why I did that is because of the fact that we did have a very strong push down, but we were failing to come to this low. I was like, okay, we start to push on up a little bit, consolidate. We get this big spike in volume here at 140, but then a lackluster kind of follow through. So that right there started to make me a little hesitant. When we started to see this kind of consolidation, it's very safe to move your stop to break even. And as you can see, that would have stopped you out. I took it as like, I made a mistake earlier in the morning. I don't deserve to have as much profit today because I made a mistake. And so I decided to just take it at a 1-to-1, put me slightly green. I'm like up 0.17 R, which is totally fine by me because it is still green. And I was unfortunately not available to be able to take this trade right here, which I'll go over. But overall, this trade, if you took it and you were targeting a 1-to-1.5, which is what I was originally targeting, it did get stopped out. Okay, this would have been the appropriate first trade to have taken for the day. This ended up getting stopped out. Coming into the last hour, we are still bearish on all the time frames. Even though we're consolidating down here, we have not invalidated any kind of bearish fair value gap here to then turn into bullishness. So I'm still looking for a short setup. Perfect setup right here. You get the bullish fair value gap that gets created, then invalidated. I was not around, unfortunately, to see this, but it played out very nice. You target this low right here. You get a 1.54 risk to reward. If you want to target RR, you would have gotten a 1-to-2 right there. So if you had taken this trade, got fully stopped out, this trade right here would have made it fully back for you at a total of 1 R for the day, if not half R. So that's why it's important to remain patient, stick to your game plan, stick to your entry model, and hopefully you guys ended up green today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.